What's up guys, Gray here, welcome back. In today's video, we've got our first build of the Witch Queen. I've been messing around with Void 3.0 a lot, especially on my Hunter, and I wanted to make a build that would allow us to take advantage of a lot of the new things we just got access to in the Witch Queen. And one of the common things I'm seeing is that a lot of people think the Glaive, the new weapon type that was just added, is a little bit lackluster, and off the rip, it definitely can be, especially if you're taking it into the legendary campaign. It may not be the best place for that weapon to shine. But in today's video, we're going to be putting together a build that centers all around the Glaive and how you can really turn it into a very powerful weapon for your arsenal. It's a lot of fun if you can build it right. So we're going to talk about it a lot today. And we're going to talk about some of the interactions and the new verbiage with Void 3.0, because you can get really creative with this system. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this build is going to be the end all be all of end game builds, but it's a very fun, very unique and creative build that you can take just about anywhere. And I want to share it with you guys today because it's a ton of fun to get it all rolling, and you'll really start to explore some of the nuance of the Void 3.0 system. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave a like down below, smash that subscribe button, but let's dive right into it with the build. Now, starting out, there's going to be a lot of synergy here, and it all revolves around the Glaive. Now, this is the weapon that you get to craft, the Enigma. This is the crafted Glaive. It is a void element Glaive, which is very helpful for this build. Obviously, the more you use this, the more you level it up, you're going to gain access to new perks and crafting features on the Glaive. We're going to take a look at it briefly because there are a lot of really strong perks that are available on this. If you look at the Enigma here, just looking at the third and fourth column, there's a lot of unique combinations here. And if you just invest a little bit of time and use the weapon for a while, you can actually get a pretty potent Glaive on your hands. You can see right here we have things like Subsistence, which is going to reload the magazine every time you get a kill. Very handy on the Glaives. They have small magazines, you have to reload them, but this only applies to the range attack. Whenever you shoot the projectile, that consumes ammo. The regular melee hits do not consume ammo, and you can use it infinitely even if you don't have ammo, which is what makes the Glaive so unique. You can use it literally all the time. Even if you're out of ammo, you can still hit melee attacks with it. So the more you level this up, you're going to unlock more perk combinations that are very strong. You can get Rampage, which I feel is going to be a very strong option for this as well. I'm still working on mine. I'm using Impulse Amplifier and Thresh right now. It's not a bad combo. Impulse Amplifier is going to make that projectile shoot faster. Very, very strong. Mess around with it. It's not so much going to matter what perks you have on here, because we're going to synergize it with our subclass to get some really unique things going. You're going to see. Now, this all really came about when I was looking at the seasonal artifact. You can see this mod right here, Suppressing Glaive. Damaging combatants with your Glaive suppresses them, preventing them from using abilities for a short time. So even if you just run up and melee them, doesn't take any ammo, just your regular melee attack, it is going to suppress them. This is going to be really strong in the campaign. You can suppress the Hive Guardians. You can use this on other players. And you can use it on regular mobs as well, but it'll shut them down and suppress them. That's the key word there, suppression. Now, if we look at our subclass, this is where things get really interesting. For the Hunters and Night Stalkers, we have the Stylish Executioner aspect, where defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. And after performing a stylish execution, your next melee while invisible weakens targets. Now, this all works together. If you're running that suppressive Glaive mod, you can run up, stab an enemy with your Glaive, not taking any ammo. It's going to instantly suppress them, and if you kill them, it'll turn you invisible. Even if you don't kill them right away, you'll get the suppression on, hit them a couple more times, and you'll turn invisible. This is an endless loop. You can stay invisible almost 24/7 by doing this. It's really, really fun. You can just run up, stab them, suppress them, kill them, invisible, and just cycle and rinse and repeat and stay invisible the entire time. And that's going to form sort of the core loop of this build. It's really going to be focused around the Glaive, being able to turn invisible, stay alive, be up close and personal, and just be a Glaive master. So when it comes to the fragments on the subclass, we're going to take everything that we can that's going to buff our melee abilities, because that will apply to the Glaive. The first fragment here, you can see after suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. This works with the glaive. So even if you empty the magazine on the glaive, you run up, you melee someone, suppress them, it will automatically reload the weapon. You get that bonus mobility. It's very cool that it all works together. Then we have this Echo of Persistence where our invisibility is going to last longer. This isn't necessary, but I'm using it to give myself the longest invisibility duration possible, just to really play into the build. You're really going all in on that invisibility side of things, and this is a great fragment to grab. We have Echo of Exchange where melee final blows grant grenade energy. You can use your grenade a ton with this build, toss it out, and all of your glaive kills and melee final blows will give you that grenade energy back. And also Echo of Leeching, where melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. So you'll be running up with the glaive, hitting them, suppressing them, turning invisible, getting health regen, getting your grenade back, and reloading your weapon, all just by using your glaive. You're not even spinning the ammo on the glaive. You're just doing the basic melee attack. You're getting all of this going just by doing that. So that's really the core loop of the build, but I wanted to really flush it out into a full-on build. So we took some more mods and combined it all together to make it a more consistent and fluid playstyle. So I'm going to run through some of the core mods. Here it is an elemental well-focused build. So we're going to be looking at some of those mods. If you're not familiar with them, they're sort of the new kids on the block. With all the changes to the Orbs of Power, elemental wells are really here to take their place, and the mods are very powerful, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit. Starting off, looking at our artifact mod, there is another mod we're going to want to take here, and it is in the final column. So you may not have this quite yet, but we're looking at Volatile Flow, where picking up a Void Elemental Well grants your Void weapons volatile rounds. This is a really unique mod because whenever you pick up that Elemental Well, especially with the glaive here, whenever we shoot that projectile, whoever it hits, it's going to make them volatile, which means if they take more damage, they will explode and cause a big Void explosion. And we can take advantage of this pretty often if we use the correct mod. So by throwing on Volatile Flow, we're able to get those volatile rounds going with our glaive. Now they will only proc off of the actual projectile. It's not going to proc off of the melee, but we can get it all rolling. You can go back and forth between your melee and projectile. The first mod we're going to take on the list to go with this is going to be Elemental Armaments. Now this is a classic Elemental Well mod. Makes it so combatant weapon final blows with a damage type that matches our subclass have a chance to spawn an Elemental Well. So naturally, while we're using our glaive, firing those projectiles, that has a chance to give us a Void Elemental Well. Now, I don't like to rely too much on chance and RNG when my build is in question, so I want to make things a little more deterministic. There is a mod perfectly suited for this. The Reaping Wellmaker mod is a Void Elemental Well mod, has to go on a Void piece of gear. This says, after activating your class ability, your next weapon final blow on a combatant will spawn a Void Elemental Well. So every time we dodge, our next weapon final blow will spawn an Elemental Well. If we go back to our subclass real quick, the other aspect we're using is Vanishing Step. So our dodge is going to make us invisible. So that's going to help us with staying invisible as well. When you're entering combat, you can dodge beforehand, you're invisible off the bat, and your first kill is guaranteed to drop that Void Elemental Well and get things rolling. To play off of that, we're going to take Well of Tenacity, and this one I'm going to talk about for just a minute here. Previously, the mod Protective Light was a very big mod in the meta. Whenever you were charged with light, it would give you damage resistance and help keep you alive. It was a very popular mod for things like Grandmaster Nightfalls. That has been nerfed. The damage reduction was dropped down, I believe, from 50% to 10%. They really nerfed it pretty hard, but inversely, they buffed this mod, the Well of Tenacity. They brought this up to a 50% damage reduction, so picking up a Void Elemental Well will give you that damage reduction for about 10 seconds. It's a very strong mod, gonna help you stay alive, especially since this build is all up close and personal. And finally, playing off of that, we also have Font of Might, which is available on the seasonal artifact. This is a normal mod. It is normally a 4-cost mod you can see here, but you can get it for 1 energy this season. This just makes it so when you pick up that well, you're going to get a Void Elemental damage buff as well. you can have all of this going at the same time. You can have that damage resistance, Font of Might damage bonus. Those can go side by side. You can get them both going off of one well. And then, of course, touching back to our original mod here, Volatile Flow. Every time we pick up that well, we're getting a void damage buff, we're getting damage resistance, and we're giving our glaive volatile rounds, which basically gives it dragonfly. You can shoot out that projectile, hits a mob, makes them explode. That can spawn more void elemental wells. It's going to suppress everything because we're using suppressive glaive, and you can just keep cycling and turning invisible. So it sounds like a lot of setup, but it really plays into the invisibility fantasy. You can constantly be invisible, suppressing enemy targets, doing pretty good damage to them with the glaive and actually getting some use out of it. And when you get everything rolling, you have the volatile rounds, the void damage buff. It's actually pretty potent. You can take on packs of mobs, and it's really fun to shoot that explosion out of your glaive and just take out an entire pack of mobs. Now, briefly touching on the exotics we want to run, we are taking Graviton Forfeit, the staple invisibility exotic. This makes all of our invisibility effects last longer. It also makes it so our melee recharges faster, our weapons reload faster, and we get bonus recovery. So great survivability exotic, makes invisibility last longer. Perfect pairing for this build. And in our heavy slot, this is sort of the wild card. This is a unique one because I was really surprised that this actually works. We're using the Two-Tailed Fox. Now, the reason I wanted to try this out is because it's a very unique weapon. This fires 2 tracking rockets, the Two-Tailed Fox. The Void rocket that it fires first suppresses enemies, and the Solar rocket causes damage over time. Now, that actually works with the subclass too. When that Void rocket suppresses something, and that second rocket kills them, that's going to proc Stylus Execution. It's going to turn you invisible. So your rocket launcher can also turn you invisible, and it's just really fun to play into the synergy of that Void 3.0 subclass verbiage that we're using moving forward. I took this into Gambit. I was invading with it, getting invis procs off of my rocket, running up, getting kills with the glaive. It's so much fun. You're like a stealthy ninja with this build, and I really am enjoying it while I'm just farming out things in the Witch Queen. So I just wanted to throw this together, show you guys the build I was running, seeing some things about hunters not being great in PvE. I beg to differ, seeing things about the glaive, saying it's not very strong. You got to put some time into it. You got to upgrade it and put those good perks on it. But with a build like this, you can really take it to the next level, and it's really fun to see how much potential we have with all of the new Void 3.0 synergies. So let me know what you guys think. If you're running some other crazy Void build, I would love to hear about it. Definitely planning on builds for Warlocks and Titans as well coming up here. So let me know what you want to see next. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave a like down below, smash that subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next one.